Hey guys, what's happening? So my best ideas always come to me late at night, and someone asked me on my last Q&A what my craziest stories from the road were, and I found my flute, and I thought of two crazy stories from Colorado that you guys are probably going to think I'm totally nuts by the end of this. So the first one is, I'm not sure actually which one's crazier, but I'll go reverse chronologically. The first one was at BLM land in Colorado, and both these trips take place on my motorcycle. This is the first part of this whole trip when I started on the crotch rocket. So I rolled into this BLM land, and it was like 5 miles of dirt road, like gravel road, on a motorcycle that's all loaded up. That's like a racing bike, like street legal racing bike. So it was really squirrely the whole way, and the back end wanted to slide out and stuff. And there were all these cows everywhere. I guess like free ranging farmers' cows. And I had to stop at one point to let this whole stampede cross in front of me. It was really cool. And then I found a really cool camping spot next to this creek, and I found all these bear tracks. I don't know what it is with bears. And the next day, it was really sunny, and it was hot, and it was beautiful out, and I was feeling really like primal. So I went on a naked hike, and the only thing that I had, and there was nobody else out there for like miles and miles and miles. So the only thing that I had was my boots and my flute, and I don't know why I took the flute. I guess because it's like, here, check this out. It sounds cool, right? It's like really mellow and like naturey and like primal and soothing. So I was out on this naked hike, and I come across these frickin' scorpions and cactuses everywhere. And I stuck my hand on a cactus, and I had all these like, I had to pick all the like cactus things out. And then I climbed this mountain, man. Like it took me like, it must have been like an hour and a half to climb the top of this mountain. I was feeling just on top of the world, and I was naked. And then a truck comes out of nowhere, and there were no trees on top of this mountain. I had like nowhere to hide, so I ran as fast as I could down the mountain to where the trees were at the bottom, and there's a bunch of cows down there. I'm like, oh shit. And there's a bull, and he's got these massive freaking horns, man. And he sticks his head down, and he starts snorting, and then he gets his paws or hooves. He's got hooves, and he starts clawing. You know, like you see those angry bulls like in movies and stuff, and he's snorting, he's got his head down. It just looks meaner than shit, man. He's like a pit bull. He's got like snot falling out of his mouth and out of his nose and shit. It was like, oh man, this bull is gonna kill me. Like, he wanted to kill me. So you know what I did? I pulled out my flute, and I was like, and he kept going. It didn't calm him down at all. I thought for sure it was gonna calm him down. So keep in mind, these cows are in the trees, and there's a truck coming, and I'm naked, and the only way to get into the trees is with the cows. It's the only place I have to hide. Otherwise, this guy is probably going to call the cops on me or something. I don't know what. So I've got to get in these trees, but this bull wants to kill me. So I charged him. I don't know what I was thinking. It was like all instinct. I charged him, and I ran as fast as I could towards him. And God, I don't know if I got lucky. I know cows are kind of dumb and easily frightened, but I scared all of them, and the whole stampede went running into the woods, and I followed them, and the truck didn't see me, and everything was cool. And it was just, oh my God, that was like one of the most incredible things that's ever happened to me. It was absolutely amazing. So that was the second crazy story. Then the next day I packed up and I left, and I found another place. So the first story was at another BLM site. They're everywhere in Colorado. Just outside of Mesa Verde, which, by the way, if you're ever camping at Mesa Verde, don't pay for their campsites. They're ridiculously expensive. If you are able to drive through sand, go to the BLM land across the street. It's like straight across the street from where you pull in to go to Mesa Verde. But anyway, so I was there. I thought I was the only person there, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I've got the place all to myself. And then a minivan shows up with 3 people in it, 2 dudes and a chick. I was like, oh man, and they parked right next to me too. And it's like, there's so many places you could park. Why would you park next to me? I was like, oh man, you know, I was still in like super introverted mode at this point. So I was kind of like disappointed. And one of the dudes came over and introduced himself and said hi and everything. And I was like, oh hi, you know, they turned out to be pretty cool, you know, but they were pretty big stoners. And at the time I smoked a little herb, you know. And I don't anymore, but I did then. And so they offered to smoke me out, you know, smoke me some weed. And so I said yes, you know, why not? You know, we sat by the campfire and I was like, I'm a one-hit wonder. Like, even though I smoked all the time for like 2 years or whatever, one hit was plenty for me, but they just kept passing it around and passing it around. So we're all like super, super, super high. And we find this chopped off, this guy's telling me these crazy stories. This guy's like, okay, so there's like this balance between genius and insanity that's just like a real fine line. And this dude was like straight on it. Like the stories he was telling me and the shit he was saying, he was funny, but it was like, I don't know if I need to worry about this guy. Oh, at one point, you know what he said to me? He said, out of nowhere, he said, what would you do if someone came up behind you with an axe right now and tried to kill you? I was like, why the fuck would you say that, dude? Like, that's a terrible thing to say to somebody you just met and just smoked a bunch of weed with in BLM land, and there's nobody around, there's no phone service. Why would you say that? Like, that's a totally messed up thing to say. But I didn't say that. I just laughed it off and told him I was into jiu-jitsu and whatever. And that was it for that. But we found this cow. I think it was a cow. Maybe it was a deer or an elk or something. The severed head of this large herd animal. And he picked it up. And it was like it had been there for like a while because it was decomposing. It was disgusting. And he picked it up with his bare hands. And he threw it in the fire. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, I'm starting to think, like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, he's crossed the line from genius to insanity. He's now completely insane. What is going on? Like, and I am so stoned, there is no way I can ride out of here right now. And the next town is like, I think it was only like 20, 30 minutes down the road, but still, I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? You know, I started to like kind of freak out a little bit. So anyway, he threw this thing in the fire. And it was the worst smell that I have ever smelled in my entire, oh, now I know I died, my entire life. Rotting flesh is the worst smell I will ever smell. There's nothing worse. There can't be. There can't be. So anyway, I spent the rest of my night clutching my knife in my hammock because I was way too stoned to ride. And I was just scared to death that, like, I was paranoid, man. Like, I was super high, and that guy freaked me out, man. And the rest of the night, I just clutched my knife, and I prayed to God, man, that they didn't try to kill me or that guy didn't freak out or something. And the next morning, everything was cool. Like, we talked for like 2 hours before I left, but I was like, no, I gotta go, really, dude. Like, I gotta leave today. Like, they wanted me to stay another couple nights and hang out with them. And they're all like, oh, it gets lonely on the road or whatever. But that guy told me see, they had a minivan. That was the first time I ever heard about anybody living in a van. So that's how I got the idea to sell the motorcycle and get a van. That's what sparked it. And it was crazy. It was insane. But looking back on it, man, it makes a pretty cool story, and it was fun, and that's the guy that inspired me. And I got his email address, and I've emailed him once or twice, but he doesn't ever reply back. I'm actually like really curious, like where he is now. So if you're watching this, Trixie Rubber Tramp or something like that, Trixie something, dude. You're a genius. Like, looking back, you are a genius. You're insane when you're high, but you're a genius. So thank you. So guys, it's really late. I need to go to bed, but those things hit me like those memories just like came flooding in as soon as I picked up my flute, and I had to tell those stories for you guys. So I'm gonna edit this really fast and I'm gonna upload it. And love yourself, be kind to yourself and others, and do what makes you happy.